Welcome back to the JSPerformanceShop. Today, we're taking a look at the LS swap I did in my 1971 short bed here. We're going to take a look at my at least top 10 parts I got off Amazon and how they worked out. I tried them out, so you don't have to. Or maybe you should. Let's go ahead and take a look. Number one is going to be our Amazon stainless headers. These ones happen to be full length. I've had no complaints. They don't really have a collector. You got to use some kind of either weld-on like a V-band or a clamp. They're just, they just come straight out, but they have holes for the O2 sensors. They fit great. Like, honest to God, they fit great. They clear the cross member, they clear the frame, they clear the spark plugs. Spark plugs actually aren't an issue to get it at all. I'm actually very happy with them. Similarly, I've used a set of short length ones on a 99-06 pickup. And also they fit great. They have some that have the ball and socket that you just bolt in. They bolt right to the factory Y pipe on those trucks. No complaints at all. One thing to do know, I don't think they're the best quality stainless steel. I mean, they're made in China. They are what they are. But the price is, I think, like half of like a Hedman or Doug Thorley, anything like that. And you can get different primary tube size. I think I went with 1 3/4, I believe, but you can get 1 7/8. Depends what kind of power you put out. This is a stock 5.3, 1 3/4 is fine for me. Again, super happy with them. Amazon stainless headers, definitely check them out. And number 2 on our list is a cheap Amazon wiring harness. Now, this is gonna get some mixed reviews. I used at the time I was laid off, I had no money. I used the dirt cheapest $99 drive-by cable wiring harness I could find. I went through it. There's other videos on how to do this. I have more on my channel if you want to check them out. I have a good short that kind of really explains it, but I went through and checked all the wiring, had to move one or two wires. It wasn't that they were wired wrong, it was wired for an LS1 and I'm using a truck PCM, so I just wanted it to match. But pretty sure it would have been okay doing some research afterwards. It's been great. I actually had just enough length to run it down the transmission tunnel. It goes up underneath my seat and the PCM's underneath there where it's perfect. One thing I would say is the PCM connections aren't the best and I wouldn't put it where it could get wet. I put mine underneath the seat, nice dry location. So far so good. This one might be a little specific to my current setup, but I ended up using a Turbo 350 behind my 5.3 and I needed a special, let's say, adapter for the crank that slides over the nose of the torque converter and into the crank of the 5.3. I bought a kit that came with the flex plate because I thought at the time I needed that. I might not have, I'm not 100% sure. I used the new flex plate that came with it. It's been working great. There's no problems. Starter, I have a factory GM starter on here, like an old greasy one, works fine with the flex plate. The torque converter went right over the adapter for the snout and went right in the crank of the 5.3, all machined nicely. It's a nice, almost interference fit into the back of the crank. No looseness, no noise, no nothing. I did not use the bolts that came with it. I forget exactly why. I believe they came with a weird 12-point bolt for the crank and I just ended up using GM bolts. They're probably better quality. So I went ahead and used the GM bolts I had for the flex plate and I wrangled up some bolts for the torque converter on my own. I believe the ones that came with it were just the head of the nut they gave me. It was too thick to fit in between the torque converter or the other way around between the block and the flex plate. So the flex plate itself, good. The adapter ring for the torque converter, great. Bolts themselves, maybe skip and use GM stuff. I mean, it's gonna be better quality. Number 4 on our list is this 92 mil aftermarket Chinese made throttle body. I've had absolutely no issues with this one. It does leave a little bit to be desired. Port for the PCV fresh air, it's a little finicky. And I ended up using GM sensors because I had a running issue that I thought might have been the sensors, but I ended up taking the sensors off it, but I don't think those were the issue. I think they were okay. I ended up just using these GM ones because I had them. Other than that, it works great. It looks like a 99-06 pickup intake, but it's actually off a Trailblazer, so it has a 4-bolt throttle body. And that's why I went to this instead of using a adapter on the 3-bolt to go to 4-bolt. Or, I mean, if you have a throttle body, just use your throttle body. If you have a cable throttle body and you're going cable. All the ones I had were drive-by wire, so I needed a cable one. This was the cheapest solution, works great. Would definitely use one again. At any time, guys, if you're interested in any of these parts, I'm gonna have them in the description below. I'm now newly an Amazon affiliate. I, honest to God, haven't sold a single thing on it. I have no clue how it really works, but I'm gonna try it. If you're interested, take a look at my links in the description. I'll try to put the exact listings that I used in there. If they're not available, I'll get a comparable part that's most likely the same part. All these are probably out of one factory. Go ahead and take a look. And number 5 on our list, slider motor mounts. I believe the ones I bought are a knockoff from Amazon of the Dirty Dingo mounts. Now, I will admit, guys, I don't like buying knockoff parts, but budget, and I hate to admit it, but they work just as good. So what these do is they bolt the side of the block. You got your 4 bolts, and they have notches in them, so you can slide the plate forward and back. You can kind of place the motor wherever you want, to a T, obviously. You don't want to hit a cross member or something, but you can place the motor in a more precise spot than wherever it just ends up with other mounts. I am using square body frame mounts with square body rubber mounts, and those slider plates work great. I left mine loose. I put the motor in. I got the motor where I wanted it to be, and then I just took a wrench right from up top, tightened all 4 bolts. You can get right at them. Well worth the price. Number 6 on our list, I ordered Evo Energy PTFE line off a whole kit, whole damn kit, right off of Amazon. Comes in a box like this. Never mind my mess here. Comes with fittings and everything. Obviously there's no line in there right now, but it would have came in there. It's been great, easy to use. None of the Evo Energy fittings or hose that I put together have failed. I had some other ones fail, but so far Evo Energy one's been great. PTFE can obviously use with gasoline, ethanol, diesel, I think anything if you want to. It's actually a Teflon, basically plastic coating on the inside. In their case, it's white, and you just peel it back, put the fittings on, all went together really good. They give you the tool to put them together. I can't rave enough about the stuff. Obviously, I'd actually spring just a little tiny more to get the actual Evo Energy stuff. It's all on Amazon. You guys probably heard of Evo Energy if you're looking at doing an LS swap or have done them. I've been actually very happy with all their stuff. So go ahead and take a look. I think they're worth it. Number 7 on our list is kind of a combo deal here. Well, I guess adapter you would call it, to use the steam port line. And I actually am using a budget Amazon steam port line. This steam port line gets rid of the, I guess you'd say, the line that goes up to the throttle body. It just goes from that side of the head to this head, comes out straight out here. I have going up to this adapter. This is just a stock truck hose. You guys probably recognize this shape. Out of a 99 to 06. This one's out of a 04 Avalanche. I just cut it, and this is basically a big hose barb with an 1/8 inch NPT hole in it. I just threaded in the 1/8 inch NPT hose barb. It's going right to this. Is actually a factory steam port line. Works great. I've had absolutely no issues with it. Definitely worth checking out. I believe this was like 20 bucks or something, and same thing with that steam port line. It was 10 to 20 bucks Canadian, which is a steal. Simple solution if you're using an old rad like me and you don't have a steam port line. Definitely the way to go. Check it out. Number 8 on our list is this generic cold air intake. This one is actually mostly a kit for a 99 to 06 Silverado. They're cheap. I think the kit was like 80 bucks, maybe 90 Canadian. So you American guys, you can probably get this for like 50 bucks. The only other thing I added, because I'm using that 92 mil throttle body, I had to buy this boot. I believe this is a 4-inch to 4-inch elbow. I cut it down to get it closer to the motor. I made it all work. This is a factory, well, this is a used MAF off of that same Avalanche rad hose is from, and I just made it all work. I kind of have some self-tappers and stuff here just to hold this filter. It's hard to explain, but there's a ledge in there, and this pipe is completely butted up against it. I did cut this pipe down, but obviously this is all specific to this truck. You could get this same kit, make it fit a Camaro, a Fox Body Mustang, a Fairmont, freaking, I don't know, an Accord, whatever the hell you're putting LS, whatever the hell you're putting any motor into, honestly. It just gives you, I find the Silverado kits give you quite a bit extra just because of the engine bay in the Silverado, that you got lots to work with. You can make it work. This piece here is also from the kit. I could have cut the other piece. I still have it somewheres. Again, just make it work, but definitely worth, like, I think that elbow was $10 to $15, and the kit was like 89 or 80 or something like that dollars. Number 9 on our list is an Evo Energy fuel filter. Now, I got one right here. There's a long story to this. I'm not gonna get into it. If you're interested, check out my other videos. You'll understand. But this is the fuel filter I'm talking about. They have multiple different versions of this. I can't remember off the top of my head what micron this is, but I have the exact same filter right now on the truck. I ended up getting rid of having an inline fuel pump. I went to one in a tank, so I didn't need this extra filter, so I got an extra one. And again, this is Evo Energy, using Evo Energy fittings. It all worked great. It's nothing, none of this, actually, even this fuel pump actually worked great too. I had absolutely no issues with it. The reason it all got pulled out is because I was trying to use the stock tank behind the seat, so that's a whole nother story. But definitely check it out. Works great, no issues. And they're cheap. I can't remember off the top of my head, but for what they are, they work great. This all comes apart. You stick a, well, I just use a crescent wrench, but you should use an AN wrench. You can unscrew these, the filters in there. Very serviceable, awesome mounting. Put it anywhere. And number 10. This one's also gonna be kind of controversial. With this motor, I use the absolute cheapest gasket kit off Amazon. I will say that, I can't remember, it has a weird name. I think the brand name was something about trees, like Evergreen or Evertree or something gasket. And the box that came in says Big 3 gaskets. It's actually right here. Big 3 gaskets. Different brand name on the box. I don't know what that's about. China. But they've been great. I even used, I think they're called an LS6 head gaskets. So it's multi-layer steel, but it's a little bit, it's kind of like a bronze looking color with, I think it's supposed to have like, I don't know if it's silicone or something impregnated. I honestly don't know. But I used them. I used the head gaskets in this motor. No issues. Absolutely no issues. I did not spray them with copper coat. I did not do anything weird. I just put them on. I just put them on. That's it. It's been no problem. Absolutely no problem. All the nice rubber gaskets, they actually feel great. Like if they came in a Felpro box, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be like, what? This isn't Felpro. No problem. Absolutely no problem. It wouldn't even surprise me if they're made in the same factory, but I don't know that for sure. But the world these days, it's most likely true. Sorry, Felpro, if that's wrong, but we know the truth. So definitely check them out. I've had absolutely no issues. I don't think I've actually had a single failure, even on the cardboard style ones. No problem. And I believe the Felpro kit's $500 or $600, and I paid, I want to say it was like $180 or something like that. Well worth it. Well worth it. And kind of a bonus one for you guys. Number 11. Don't be afraid to use some Amazon little adapter fittings. So I was actually gonna separate these two, but really it's the same idea. So on this motor, I'm using an adapter fitting that threads into the block where your oil pressure sender would have went. And this one's basically a bushing. You thread it in there and it gives you the 1/8 inch, I believe it's 1/8 inch NPT to go to, well, I went to a copper oil pressure supply line for this, well, I got a separate gauge, but whatever you're doing, it gives you a normal size that you can thread an adapter into to go to a gauge, even a factory gauge, because I believe this one's metric. Don't quote me, but I want to say it's M14. I could be wrong, And all the gauges and stuff are usually standard, like an 1/8 inch or something. So it was like $5, $10. Can't go wrong. I haven't put it in yet, but I got one for the coolant temp. I want to put a coolant temp sender in for the factory gauge cluster. I just recently got a fitting for Christmas, actually. My wife got it for me. It was like $10. It goes inside the head. It allows you to put a gauge into the head, like an old school small block. The third one, I bought a small kit, came with 2 fittings for the power steering pump. So I'm using a power steering pump off of like a 99 to 06 without Hydro Boost. So it only has 1 return, which returns fine. That's not the problem. It's the pressure line. So this kit I bought came with 2 fittings. I believe the one I used has an O-ring and it goes in the back of the pump and gives you a standard line out so it fit, well, this one's actually using a square body line, but this truck is actually a manual steering truck, but you know what I'm trying to say. And then the other fitting it came with is the other way. It allows you to hook up, I believe, a O-ring line to a older box. So if you wanted to use, let's say, a Silverado hose, because you already had it, it threads into, this fitting threads into the box, which is the old standard, I think, flare style, and lets you use the O-ring line into the box. I went the other way because it just made sense. I had the room. This truck actually had some other stuff going on with the power steering, and it just worked good for me. So in my case, I use the fitting that threads in the back of the pump and goes from an O-ring to a flare. It's been great, absolutely no leaks, no problem. Thanks for watching our top 10-ish budget parts off Amazon that I used so you didn't have to, but you probably should because all of them worked great. If you're interested in this kind of content, I have a video right here, the do's and don'ts of LS swapping for beginners, especially in a classic vehicle, but we all know that all this stuff pertains to any vehicle really. It's all great information. If you're interested in builds like this one, like the LS swap and this 71 GMC short bed, or I have a 92 step side outside GMC, check out these builds over here. That's where you'll find that kind of information. Thanks for tuning in. Like, share, subscribe, comment. I appreciate you all big time. See you in the next one.